Hey everyone, welcome back to Bond Builders Network. If you're new here, I'm Rebecca John, and today we're diving into a topic that many of us face: how to give relationship advice to a friend in need, without overstepping boundaries or risking your friendship. Whether you're a seasoned confidant or just want to know the best way to offer advice, this video will help you with some important tips and strategies to this delicate situation. Let's get into it. Now, giving advice is always a bit tricky, right? You want to be supportive and helpful, but at the same time, you don't want to cross any lines. In fact, offering relationship advice is one of those things that can easily go wrong if you're not careful. So, how can you be the friend who's there for them but also respect their space and boundaries? Well, follow this. Let's start with the first tip: active listening. Before you even think about offering advice, take a step back and really listen. Active listening means paying full attention to what your friend is saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak. A lot of times, people don't need a solution right away, they just want to be heard. So focus on their words, their emotions, and their body language. Acknowledge their feelings with simple phrases like, "I hear you," or "that must be tough." This creates an environment where they feel safe opening up more and allows you to give more thoughtful, considerate advice when the time is right. Now, here's a good rule of thumb. Never interrupt them with your own story or immediate solution unless they ask for it. You want them to feel like they're being truly listened to. Okay, tip number 2 is all about sharing instead of telling. When you do give advice, avoid sounding like you have all the answers. A great way to approach this is by sharing your own experiences, if relevant, without making it all about you. For example, instead of saying, "You should just break up with them," try saying, "I've had a similar situation before and I felt really conflicted. What helped me was..." This makes it clear you're offering your perspective, not telling them what to do. Remember, the goal is to offer support, not dictate actions. By sharing your own experience, you create a sense of camaraderie, like, "Hey, I've been there and I get it." But ultimately, you're letting them make the choice for themselves. Alright, tip number 3, be honest but kind. Sometimes, as friends, we know things about their relationship that they might not want to hear. Maybe they're making excuses for bad behavior or they're not seeing the bigger picture. While you should be honest, it's important to deliver that honesty with kindness. If you need to say something difficult, use "I" statements instead of "you are" statements. For example, instead of saying, "You're being totally unreasonable," try saying, "I feel like this situation could be hurting you more than you realize." It's less accusatory, which helps keep the conversation more productive and less defensive. Tip number 4 is a big one. Respect their boundaries. If your friend isn't ready to talk about something, don't push them. Sometimes, people need space before they're ready to hear advice. Or maybe they just need time to process their emotions. Offer your support, say something like, "I'm here whenever you want to talk," and leave it at that. Pushing advice when they're not ready to receive it can strain the friendship, and we definitely don't want that. Now, I want to make sure we talk about tip number 5. Don't be the therapist. There's a fine line between offering advice and taking on the role of a counselor. If you're not a licensed therapist, it's important to know when to refer them to a professional. Sometimes what your friend is dealing with requires more support than you can give. Remember, you're a friend, not a therapist. It's totally okay to suggest that they talk to a professional if it's something that requires more in-depth support. The best thing you can do is direct them to the right resources when necessary. So, to wrap up, giving relationship advice doesn't have to be complicated or uncomfortable. By practicing active listening, sharing your own experiences instead of telling them what to do, being kind and honest, respecting boundaries, and knowing when to refer them to a professional, you can be a supportive friend without jeopardizing your relationship. At the end of the day, being there for your friends means knowing when to speak up and when to just listen. Relationships are hard enough, but as friends, we can make them a little bit easier for each other. I hope these tips were helpful. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more advice and tips on building stronger, healthier relationships. Drop a comment below if you've ever been in a situation where you had to give relationship advice. I'd love to hear your experiences. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more tips on building better friendships and relationships. Until next time, take care and be the friend you'd want to have.